So I just got COVID, and I'm not going to waste a good opportunity to drink. So here we go. Taste is gone. Let's get it. Hey, I'm Scott with Squirrel Growth, and I tested positive for coronavirus. But not only did I get COVID, I also got a new mic, so that's nice. New mic, what up? Hey, all right. So this is a video I've been wanting to make for a while. I am COVID-free currently. It's been 2 weeks since my symptoms resided, and so I'm able to go out if I wanted to, go out. But it's not like I do anyways, so I'm still kind of trapped at home. But I'm definitely able to now. Got the clearance from my doctor and everything's good to go. And I'm a survivor, so that's pretty neat. So I want to make this video just for anyone who is curious about the symptoms and the experience that you can go through. I'll tell you my experience and what it was like having COVID and what the whole ordeal is like, since I didn't know really what to expect, since there's so much misinformation out there. I wish there was really something that I could have referenced or seen so that I could have not been so scared of it, but also knew kind of what to expect and how to handle it. Real quick, just a disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. This is not intended to be used for medical anything. Please consult a doctor if you have any real questions and need real advice. But this is just my experience and what I had and kind of recommendations based off my personal experience. But everyone's different. That's one thing about coronavirus is the symptoms for everyone, it range crazy wide. Some people don't show symptoms at all. Some people lose their taste and smell. Some people get a cough. Some people have diarrhea and throw up so bad that they have to go to the ER because they can't keep their liquids down. So it just varies so widely, and you don't really know what to expect. I am a 23-year-old male, generally healthy. I mean, I don't treat my body good at all because I am a 23-year-old dude who just got out of college, and so I've been eating and treating my body like a college student would, which is like garbage. So I definitely don't have that in my favor. So I did handle it a little worse than what some people would my age. It's still better than other people, which is very nice. And I think I handled it super nice. So let's just jump into it. So I just want to say, I've been super careful with COVID and the whole lockdown and the whole quarantine and everything from the beginning. I don't go out very often. My partying that I've been doing, since I do like to party, has all been on video chats or on Discord or something over the phone and not really in person. I see a handful of people here and there every once in a while, but it's usually like a week or two locked up in my house, not really doing much. And then, I see family or I see a friend here or a friend there. It's something, just not a whole lot of going out. I've been locked down a little bit tighter than some people I know. The main reason I've been locked down super tight is because I'm honestly terrified of the coronavirus, and I have been for a while, because right before coronavirus started happening, I had an inflamed lung and had to go to the emergency room. It felt like I was getting shanked in the heart, and they told me that my lung was inflamed and it was pushing up onto my organs and pushing my organs into my rib cage, which is why it was hurting. And if my lung was being inflamed without coronavirus, I was just super worried that with coronavirus, I would actually die. And I actually didn't want to die, which is kind of wild. So since I didn't want to die, I've been taking it super serious because I was like, it's a predisposed condition, I guess. Gonna play it extra safe out there. But I didn't die. So that's good. Yeah, so to just kind of go over the timeline and the symptoms that I experienced, kind of have an idea of what to expect. Again, it's going to vary for everyone, but this is what I experienced, and hopefully can kind of give you an idea of what to expect when looking out for coronavirus or any sickness or when you should get tested and, things like that. I think I've narrowed it down to a friend that I hung out with who I hadn't seen in a while. We were hanging out. He came over to my house and we were hanging out for a bit. And we were going to go camping that weekend just to kind of get outdoors because we were tired of being cramped up inside. So we had that planned, hung out with him on a Thursday. Then we were supposed to leave Friday, but I got a text from him saying he wasn't feeling too good and he didn't want to camp outside in 30 to 40 degree weather, which is understandable whenever you're not feeling good. We canceled the plans, and then I didn't think anything of it. He just had a whatever sickness, because it's not like other sicknesses went away. Other sicknesses still exist, even though coronavirus is the main one people are scared of right now. So I didn't think much of it. Then a few days after that, I started feeling a little sick. And I was tired a lot, just unmotivated and felt terrible. But again, the tiredness, I didn't think anything of it. I just figured since I hadn't been outside in a while, I was kind of losing motivation and just used to being trapped inside in a small room and missing the outdoors. And that week I decided to change my habits. I'd wake up at 7:30 in the morning, stretch out, do a little bit of working out, and then go for a mile run. I was on day 3 or 4 of that, and then one day I came home after my run. I remember just laying on the couch in the fetal position, feeling terrible. I had a crazy bad headache. I had the chills. I was just not in a good place. But that only lasted for like 30 minutes to an hour. So that wasn't bad at all. And then I felt totally fine. So I didn't know what was up. I thought I was just my body not used to working out and not used to waking up that early, because that was the first time I started doing that in a long time. So I kind of figured it was just my body freaking out over that. I just kind of went about my day and went back to lockdown. Just my normal day, kind of hanging out, watching things, working on editing videos or working on photoshopping stuff. Just my usual day, right? So if I have the cause right, and it was that Thursday from seeing that friend, then on the 4th or 5th day is when my headache first started, and it wasn't that bad. It came and went, and it was just like a mild headache, nothing I really even paid attention to. But then on the 7th or 8th day is the day where I got the chills, got the really bad headache. It was like a major migraine. That only lasted like I said, 30 minutes to an hour. Then the day after that, my nose got super runny, and then it got super congested, and it was just terrible. I was blowing it all the time and just trying to deal with all that. Then the day after that, so I believe the 9th day, my nose wasn't runny at all. My nose wasn't stuffy at all. Nothing. It was completely clear. I could breathe at it completely, but I couldn't really smell anything that well. And I was kind of freaking out at that point, because that was the first day that I was kind of thinking that it wasn't just the regular sickness and it was actually coronavirus. I did text a few people kind of freaking out, and they're like, oh no, it's just allergies, don't worry about it. So I try not to worry too much. But at the same time, I was kind of worried. So I think the day after that, whenever my smell was completely gone, like I held deodorant up to my nose and smelled it, couldn't smell anything. I sprayed Febreze, couldn't smell anything. I cooked a frozen pizza, and I remember sticking my face into it and just trying to smell it, but I could feel the heat through my nose, but I couldn't smell the pizza at all. And it was at that point I'm like, oof, this is not good. I think on the 10th day is when I actually was like, okay, these are real symptoms that I should get a coronavirus test. I go to ASU, and ASU offers free saliva COVID tests, so I went and got one of those. And the only caveat to that is the results take 3 days to get the results back, and this was a week before Thanksgiving. So I went and got that test, and I had to wait 3 days, and 3 days was the day before Thanksgiving. And at this point, I was wearing my mask out whenever I was in the common area. I only live with my brother. I let him know that I got a coronavirus test and that I was going to be locked up in my room for the next 3 days. But whenever I did go in the common area, I wore a mask. I had a soap rag that I wiped anything down that I touched afterwards. And I was just being super careful with everything. On the 4th day, I called into ASU. This was Thanksgiving morning. I really wanted the results because I didn't want to drop a false alarm with my few family members that were getting together, but I also didn't want to have people show up whenever it was actually in our family. So I wanted to have the information that day, right? I called up ASU, and I was talking to the person at the health clinic, and I was like, hey, do you have my coronavirus test? And she was looking into my account, and she was like, oh no, we don't have any. And she stopped, and she was like, I'm going to have a doctor call you back. And she hung up, and I was like, oof, that's not a good sign. So I was kind of freaking out. I was like, that's probably like, if a doctor's calling me back and she hung up like that and just like kind of shocked herself, then that's probably not good, right? So I called my family, and I called my mom and a few other people in my family, and I was like, hey, this is what happened. I don't know for sure yet, but that's not sounding good. Just so you know, just that it's out there. It only took about 10 minutes for the doctor to call me, but that was a really long 10 minutes. Because it was like, okay, I think I'm positive, but still maybe I'm not. Fingers crossed. I don't know. We'll see. So those 10 minutes dragged on, and then whenever the doctor finally did call me back, the doctor told me that I was COVID positive. They sent me a bunch of pamphlets and a bunch of papers to read through to inform me the proper way to quarantine and what to do and how to act and all the safety precautions that I should take. And also asked for a list of people that I did see within the past 2 weeks and their contact information so that they can reach out to them and let them know that someone has tested positive and they should probably go get a test. I gave all that information, but then after I was finished talking with the doctor, I went ahead and called the handful of people I had seen because I wanted to personally ensure that everyone was aware that I did test positive. They should be safe and go get tested and make sure everything's good to go because, again, didn't know how everything would be, how bad it would get. I was still kind of scared at this point. I also made a Made a post in my Snapchat story just telling everyone, just in case that I forgot to tell someone, or someone who's hung out with someone who's hung out with me knows, just to get all the information out there so that no one was questionable on it and it wasn't a surprise to anyone. I tried being really good about that. By the time I had my positive coronavirus test results, it had already been so long that I was experiencing the full symptoms. I completely lost my sense of smell, like I said, and at this point I had lost my sense of taste. I had a slight cough, but nothing too bad. It was just like a every once in a while. It was more of a dry cough that would happen once or twice a day. It wasn't anything too bad. It wasn't like I was hacking up a lung, and it wasn't like I was coughing up phlegm. It was just a really dry cough, and not very often. And the other main symptom that I experienced was for about a week and a half after my positive test, I had a really bad headache that would come and go. I would have a crazy bad headache for about 2 hours or so, then it would disappear for about an hour and then come back for another 2 hours or so. It just felt like a really bad migraine. I'm sure it would have been tolerable if I had taken aspirin or ibuprofen. Not sure which one's better or if it matters, what people recommend. But just any pain reliever I'm sure would have helped out. But instead of doing that, I'm not a big pain reliever guy. So I just took vitamins. I took one a day for men, and I took vitamin D. Zinc is also a good thing, and vitamin C is also a good vitamin to have whenever you're coronavirus positive, from the research that I've done. And I think that helped out. Again, I don't know for sure. I was taking those every day and my symptoms didn't get too bad, so hopefully they helped out. The last symptom that I experienced, there was only one night towards the beginning, I think before I even had the positive coronavirus test result. I remember waking up in the middle of the night and I was not able to breathe. I was like stretching out and trying to breathe for about 10 minutes or so, but then I just went back to bed. So I might have just been sleeping at a weird angle or something, but that was something that I did experience. Luckily it was only one night that happened, but I did have slight pain right underneath my pecs, and having an inflamed lung, that's where my lungs were hurting. So I guess there was some pain in the lung relating back to that, because I do know what an inflamed lung is like and what that pain feels like. So it's just very, very minute, nothing too crazy. Just a little bit of pressure that I experienced for a day or two. I'm not sure if that's anything too drastic or anything too crazy, but that is basically the full extent of my symptoms. Nothing too crazy bad, just super uncomfortable for about a week and a half with the headache. But you kind of get used to it after the first few days. And again, pain reliever I'm sure would help. I just don't do pain reliever just because I don't know why. Editing the video right now. Forgot to mention, my doctor did tell me 24 hours after my fever or headache resided, then I was no longer contagious and I would be able to go about my daily life again. And it was about a week and a half or 2 weeks is all that I had the really bad headache and the symptoms that I did experience. That's about the extent that it lasted. But I wanted to be safe and stay away from people a little bit longer than that. And 2 days after my symptoms resided, I got a call from my doctor asking how my symptoms were. Told him that I had my smell and my taste back and everything was good to go. And they cleared me from quarantine. But even then, I did give it another 3 days or so just to be extra safe, because I really don't want to give it to people, because you really don't know how people are going to react to this. Now let's talk about the positives of coronavirus. One good thing, I guess, pretty good. One thing is you're not able to taste, which I thought would be one of the worst things about COVID, because I love the way food tastes. But it was actually super nice. Instead of having to make some food that I actually really liked and tastes good, I could just throw whatever I wanted onto a plate and kind of shovel it into my mouth, and I'd get my daily nutrients without actually having to worry about the taste. It's super nice. Another thing, before I got my test results, I like taking shots, and normally I have a chaser to go after my shot. But with coronavirus, I was FaceTiming one of my friends, and I threw a shot back, and I didn't need a chaser. And just like the video I showed at the beginning, I just swish it around in my mouth and it doesn't matter at that point. So that's kind of neat. I really wanted to get Everclear and pour it in a cup and just kind of sip on it like water just because I could. But I couldn't go to the store and didn't really want to have anyone come over and deliver stuff. So I didn't do that because I didn't have it in my house. But another thing I did do just to kind of experiment with, because this is a once in a lifetime thing probably, or hopefully this is a once in a lifetime thing that happens. I did get smelling salt that people use before workouts and things that has ammonia in it. And people smell it, and apparently it has a very rancid smell. It gets you fired up or whatever it does. I don't know exactly, but I had one for my brother. So right now I'm going to show a video of me popping in my reaction versus someone else who I found on YouTube who did it, and like what a normal reaction is for it. My eyes are watering. I can't tell why they're watering. At the end of the day, definitely don't recommend getting COVID. Not that good of a time. Just like any sickness, it's not fun. Definitely wear masks. If you are going out, definitely be safe when you do go out. Keep your distance. If you have any questions about my experience that I didn't list in this video, definitely leave a comment down below and I'll make sure to answer those questions. I hope this video helped at least ease your worries or informed you a little bit about coronavirus and what to expect. If it did, make sure to leave a like below. If you want more of me, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Not exactly sure what I do yet, just kind of post random videos right now, but definitely come along for the journey.